Hello and welcome to Too Many Movies, the podcast where we discuss DVDs, Blu-rays, and even the occasional VHS tape. I am your host, Hal, and with me here today, Chaos Unleash.
Hi, I am ChaosBeetleFrontiers. I used to be Chaotic Productions until I found a helicopter.
Holy shit, Beast, that's a helicopter.
It's a helicopter.
I will not be explaining the joke, so if anybody who's confused, too bad. You'll find out someday, but not today.
Yeah, you will find out someday. But, yeah. I watch movies, I watch shows, I play games, I am dealing with too many Discord notifications right now, and we are here to talk about some based movies.
Wow, way to flex. Too many based things going on. Too many notifications, you might say.
You could say it's a whole lot of chaos.
It's a whole lot of Hey, that's that thing you do.
Yeah, I said it.
He said the thing, Lois. All right. Yeah. Speaking of Family Guy, they're a bit of a dinosaur nowadays. Hey, speaking of dinosaurs, Chaos, you wanted to talk about The Land Before Time. That was the movie you wanted to bring to the table today.
It is indeed. I did want to talk about The Land Before Time for two very specific reasons. One, it is one of the 3 movies that I got on Blu-ray for Christmas. The other 2 are Bullet Train and Morbius. There's some consistency with the last episode I was on, eh?
It's true.
Yeah.
Did we talk about Morbius on your last episode?
I think I remembered I brought up like the Blu-rays I wanted to keep, and I was like, no, I don't want to get a League of Super Pets Blu-ray, but a Morbius Blu-ray would be nice.
you know what? I 100% believe that. Yeah. So, yeah, cool.
And the second reason is that I know you only watched The Land Before Time recently, Hal, but the cut straight to the point, The Land Before Time is one of my personal favorite movies of all time. Funny.
Nice.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. Like,
funny joke.
Currently top 10 favorite, and it's probably going to stay there because I watched it twice last month. Once for a Don Bluth marathon. The second time I watched on my own, and third time I watched it in the watch party with you.
Yeah. Yeah, so you seem to have watched it a lot. I mean, obviously, you don't just watch a movie a million times if you don't like it. Well,
yeah, exactly.
Unless you're a psychopath, but... Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I can see you're very passionate about this movie. I'm glad you are. I'm glad I was able to watch this and hear your takes on it.
Yeah, definitely.
This definitely requires a rewatch, but even from what I've seen so far, I gotta say, I liked it a lot more than I was expecting. So,
yeah.
I guess to go into it, so Don Bluth is not a filmmaker I'm super familiar with. Like, I'm familiar on like a basic level.
Yeah.
Like, the extent of what I've seen from him is stuff like Secret of Nim, obviously Land Before Time now. I have seen An American Tale. So I've seen like the basic stuff, but I haven't seen like a whole... I have seen Rockadoodle.
Yeah, it's based.
Yeah, so I've seen some of his stuff, but I haven't seen all of it, and I have not done a Don Bluth marathon like you have.
Yeah.
I guess I could at some point. I'm familiar enough from what I've seen of like nostalgia critic videos on his movies.
Yeah.
So
I've watched a few nostalgia critic Don Bluth related videos, and the opening to the Secret of Nim 2 review will always be one of the funniest things.
Is that the one where he's like putting on like a bunch of stuff and he's just like bring it on? Oh my god, that's so true. It's such a good video.
It's hilarious.
Early nostalgia critic holds up in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess
not all of it, but
if I could share my thoughts on Don Bluth,
please.
Yeah, like you said, I did the whole Don Bluth marathon last month because I was like, well, everyone's doing Disney marathon, but also this YouTuber named Just Stop who did his own Don Bluth marathon, and then a month later he talks about the LS Mark relationship. Let's not worry about that. I guess before cutting into Land Before Time, to share all of my brief thoughts on his films, I think Secret of Nim is the only one besides Land Before Time that's like actually fantastic, and I do get a lot of enjoyment out of Anastasia and especially Bartok the Magnificent. Bartok is unironically one of the funniest animated movies I've seen, so... Other than that, American Tail was fine. Rockadoodle was pretty bad, but I did enjoy it a lot. All Dogs Go to Heaven was just straight up bad. Pebble and the Penguin was awful, even though there was some stuff I did like about it. Titan AE and Thumbelina, I can talk to great length as to why those movies are so awful. And
here it comes.
Like many people have warned you before, please do not watch Troll in Central Park. It is complete garbage.
One of my favorite things is I think it's on like your Discord description. You're just like, there are 3 insane people in this world: liberals, conservatives, and Troll in Central Park enjoyers.
It's true. I know a YouTube channel who put Troll in Central Park on their best animated movies of the 1990s list, and now I'm like, stop. Stop.
That's one of those weird movies that like I can't imagine people being fans of, and yet they're not there's not a lot of them, but they do exist, and that I'm just like, I cannot imagine other than like blind nostalgia.
Because it's just a movie for it's a movie for stillborn babies, basically.
What was the studio thinking?
But Troll in Central Park does not matter today. What matters today is what I do believe to be Bluth's best work, and again, one of my favorite films of all time. Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. No, I'm just kidding. It's The Land Before Time. Fun fact that I did learn recently. The Land Before Time is the second movie that Bluth worked with Spielberg on. He worked with he worked with Spielberg on American Tail because despite Secret of Nim being, really good, no shit, it was quite more of an underground movie, so Spielberg came along and gave Bluth more of a platform, and that's why we got major hits like American Tail, and The Land Before Time just completely destroying Oliver and Company at the box office.
Right, yeah. I mean, because I did notice at the beginning it said, produced by George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, and then you go down in the producers section and on Letterboxd, Kathleen Kennedy, Frank Marshall. So like people who have been around and produced a lot of stuff are involved with this movie.
Kathleen Kennedy went from this to the sequel trilogy.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen!
How the mighty have fallen, indeed. But what I did also find out is that Bluth eventually did leave Spielberg because he felt like because he didn't like some of the restrictions that Spielberg did put, even though obviously that benefited something like Land Before Time. And then you cut to his next movie, All Dogs Go to Heaven, which was a complete mess of a story, which, get this, it had 10 writers on it.
Oh, the big-lipped alligator moment.
Yep.
Took 10 writers to make. That's funny. So you said Spielberg kind of put restrictions on this movie.
I don't really know which ones, but from what I've heard, Spielberg did help a lot with the quality control of American Tail and Land Before Time. And now, really think about it, I'm not sure what Land Before Time would really be like without Lucas or Spielberg.
It definitely wouldn't be as whimsical, I'm thinking, because that's kind of what Spielberg knows best is how to
Yeah.
make something kind of like whimsical and like in a sense timeless. You know,
Yeah.
not every one of his movies is a banger, but the ones that do really hit are the ones where you're like, yeah, that is definitely timeless. That is definitely one of the better definitely one of the better ones for a reason.
Yeah, a lot of his movies are definitely timeless. I remember Ready Player One in the theater for being so shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so for Land Before Time, so I did not know what to expect with this movie. I mean,
Yeah.
so I did kind of, I was not, I will fully admit, I was not looking forward to it in the sense that like I didn't really expect to have any much of a connection to it, because the last Bluth film I did watch was An American Tail, and to be honest, that really did not work for me.
Mid.
Very mid.
Mid.
Yeah, it was not very good. So I was really not expecting, because like I feel like Land Before Time, it's one of those movies that, again, this was my first time watching it. I didn't grow up with it. I grew up knowing of the Land Before Time, but I had never watched the actual movies.
I actually have watched. I think I have watched the original Land Before Time when I was younger, as well as a lot of sequels. It's not as prevalent as other franchises I grew up with, like Angry Birds or even Open Season.
Yeah. I do have a distinct memory of watching, I don't know what it was, I could not tell you for the life of me, but like some DVD or videotape that had a trailer for a Land Before Time sequel, and I distinctly remember the way the narrator would just say, "The Land Before Time 7," and I'm just like, what? I just grew up with that being on like one of my DVDs. I can't remember which one.
Somehow this is the one Bluth movie that did not spawn 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. No, it spawned 13 sequels.
Yeah, that's insanity. I think like the most recent one was like 2016, right?
Yeah, it was, which was like almost decade-long gap from the last one, which The Wisdom of Friend. I have not watched any of these sequels recently yet.
Me neither.
Yeah, I'm not too keen on watching a lot of them, but from what I've heard, The Wisdom of Friends is particularly bad.
Yeah. Didn't the second one get like taken off of Letterboxd? Wasn't that something that happened like
that
the
was
past couple of months?
That happened. And Shafe fans rejoiced because it was just like Shrek the Third. It doesn't exist.
Which is just so strange. It's like, why the second one?
Why the second one specifically? Not to mention all of the Land Before Time sequels are longer than the original. All of them.
Oh my god. Oh, that's something I wanted to talk about. The runtime, 69 minutes, nice. But like no, like that's fantastic. And it actually did cram in. I guess cram is kind of a negative connotation. Has kind of a negative connotation. It
did fit in a lot of stuff for that runtime.
Yes, definitely. So one thing I did notice is a lot of this movie did remind me of the dinosaur segment from Fantasia.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, not all of it, because that, in a sense, I kind of prefer, I do prefer Fantasia. It's one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. But, like, I do think that does get across more story-wise visually, whereas this definitely and I get it, it's a kids movie, you gotta have characters with voices, you gotta have narration, so like and I feel like maybe that's where like the Spielberg interference came in. You know, you got the narrator, you got the kids voicing stuff, so like I get it. Honestly, as far as like kids movies go, like it could have been a lot worse. I think it did very well what it was trying to be. So.
Exactly. Like to address both of the points that you mentioned, I think that all of the kid actors, or at least most of them, are pretty fantastic, actually.
Yeah, they're good. I was never that annoyed by them.
Especially Littlefoot, since whoever was playing him did convey a lot of strong emotions.
Yeah, Fun fact: he's played by Gabriel Damon, who is the little shit from RoboCop 2.
I have
I
not.
I hate that kid in RoboCop 2. I hate RoboCop 2 for a lot of reasons, but that kid is especially up there.
I haven't gotten to the RoboCop movies yet, but I now own the first movie on DVD, I believe. So I'll get to.
I highly recommend the first RoboCop. It's
I'll
very
get to
good.
that soon. I'll get to the sequels if I'm particularly curious.
Well, I highly recommend the donut shop scene from RoboCop 3. I won't say anything else. That is for another episode. But anyway, to go back to Land Before Time, I think the kids are definitely very good with what they're given.
Definitely.
It grew on me. I did like how they referred to themselves as like specific attributes of the dinosaurs. So they don't refer to each other as other dinosaurs. They refer to each other as like Sharptooth or Littlefoot
or Three Horns or Long Necks
or
Big Mouth.
Big Mouth, which is unfortunate, but
Jack
it makes sense.
Jack Horner is canon to this franchise.
It's true. It's true. Which it was a little weird, but I think that would make sense world building wise. Like they wouldn't really refer to themselves as these actual dinosaur names. Like they would refer to themselves as like their basic basic structure of what like their most basic structure, like long necks, the three horns, like
definitely
it makes sense.
And I haven't watched it yet, but I'm assuming that's one area where dinosaur does fuck up, doesn't it?
Well, dinosaur fucks up for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm half saying that because it genuinely is bad. I'm also half saying that because I know it pisses off a lot of people who are passionate for it, and I like being a filthy little troll when it comes to that. But where was I going? Oh, yeah, dinosaur sucks.
Great. Now you're going to just keep on criticizing it throughout this episode, and now I'm just going to... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make my own video, and whenever you criticize it, I'm putting Jurassic Park clips over it.
Oh, God. All right, I want to explain that. So, a while back, maybe a year ago, somebody posted a video to the Schaeferless subreddit where they took his criticisms of Dinosaur 2000 from his Disney's 2000 video. And basically took any time he said anything like negative towards the movie, they like edited in a clip from Jurassic Park of a dinosaur attacking someone, to insinuate that they don't agree with James's criticisms. And it was the funniest video ever, and it's now deleted, and I can't find it anywhere. It's been scrubbed from the internet. I can't find it. I miss it so much. It was so funny.
Actually, speaking of dinosaur, this is something I do want to compliment Land Before Time on. It's movies like Dinosaur and The Good Dinosaur and Walking with Dinosaurs done right.
Oh, totally. I mean, I have not seen Walking with Dinosaur. I've heard enough from Mr. Bamison that it's really terrible.
I watched it in the theater. I watched it in the theater when I was younger. It was shit.
That's the one with Justin Long, and he voices a dinosaur or something. Am I thinking? Yeah. Is it Justin Long? It might be.
Yeah, it's been a very long time for me, so...
I mean, Walking with Dinosaur, I think, is one of those movies that, like, I've just heard nothing but negative things, so I completely 100% believe you.
Yeah, but I think the comparisons between Land Before Time and Good Dinosaur would actually be particularly appropriate, because while I do think both of them do stuff to differentiate themselves, though in Good Dinosaur's case, it's also continuing to use plot points from better movies.
Right.
They do share stuff like the main character losing their parent pretty early on and having to go on a big journey to their big destination. But definitely. But there's so many areas where Land Before Time succeeds, where Good Dinosaur just doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like you're right. Yeah, the whole losing a parent thing, this movie definitely did that much better than Good Dinosaur. Good Dinosaur did it in the way that it thinks a Pixar movie would do it, and it completely messes it up.
Yeah, exactly. Like with the editing choices in Good Dinosaur, that just led to me just completely laughing at it.
I completely forgot that was an editing choice, so when you guys reminded me, I was like, oh yeah, that was in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. And then when I watched Land Before Time, basically once this year, the 3 times I have watched it, I basically cried every single time Littlefoot's mom died. That scene hits hard.
It is a very hard hitting scene. I feel like it's a shame that some people may compare it to Bambi.
Yeah,
me included. I did do that, but I do think it kind of it handles it very well for a kids movie. I must say. So I will give it that. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about? Probably. I think I'm good with talking about what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
so
there's
whatever you have yet.
Yeah, there's actually.
Go ahead.
Land Before Time is a movie that I am incredibly passionate about. So
no, awesome. That's great.
I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. But one thing, the first thing that I do want to mention is this movie is rated G, and for a rated G movie, I'm happy by that because, again, for a rated G movie, it's just absolutely spectacular. But also, it's a very simple movie, but with a lot of stuff that tackles for a G-rated movie, it hits very strong. And I need to get this out of the way. The score is fantastic. The score is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, like I said, it did remind me of the segment from Fantasia. Now, it's not exactly the same exact music, but it definitely had that kind of like grand orchestral score to it that reminded me of, they did that in Fantasia.
Yeah, don't even get me started on the scene where the tremor is happening and Sharptooth is just trying to drag down Littlefoot and Sarah. The music there is genuinely perfect.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah. As is the animation. Like, that's one thing I definitely was not expecting. Like, the animation, blowing me away. It was really good. Like, it looked like, again, the segment from Fantasia, which is a testament to how timeless Fantasia is, but it's also a testament to how, timeless this movie is. Like, it looks great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's only, like, a few areas where it's like, and maybe this looks a little rough, but otherwise, this movie's animation is fantastic, and it's not just stills, it's like the movement of everything has so much weight to it.
Yeah, it looks classical. Like, it looks like you could hang some of it in like in a museum. It's beautiful.
But yeah, I also do want to go back to the G rating a bit, because again, I'm very impressed with a lot of the stuff the movie did pull off for that rating, and I actually do want to compare it to some movies, particularly one that I saw recently that isn't a complete direct comparison, but it does pale a lot in comparison to what Land Before Time does. It's The Bad Guys, actually. Yeah.
Was Bad Guys G?
I don't think Bad Guys was rated G, but I wanted to make the comparison because Bad Guys probably has a higher age rating. And when watching that, I don't think I was watching a kid's movie. I think I was watching a baby movie.
Probably, yeah. That's the thing about ratings, and I did like a whole paper in like high school on ratings. They're just so inconsistent. Like, but and it's partially general audience's fault for having like
like different standards now.
Exactly, different there's different standards to take into account. There's like stereotypes that come from a certain rating. So like, yeah, you say like a G rating, and it's like people tend to associate G with baby films. When like G means people forget G means general, meaning like anyone can watch it. So it's not
Yeah.
it's not automatically meant for babies. It's
Yeah.
meant for anyone can watch it. Like you could
Yeah,
send
exactly.
you could send a child into the theater by themselves and they could watch it no problem.
Yeah.
Like that's what a G means.
Yeah, and I
2001: A Space Odyssey is rated G. Fun fact.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and I do think that not only could a child just walk into the theater just time and watch Land Before Time on their own, I do think that they will have like a genuinely great experience doing so. That's
Exactly.
genuinely meaningful. I mean, I think Bad Guys is like rated PG, and yeah, I do think that little kids might need parental guidance for that one, because it literally has plot points hinging on fart jokes.
Yeah, I have not seen The Bad Guy since I saw it in theaters.
It's bad.
I did like seeing it in 3D, but
Yeah.
I mean,
I
but I remember the animation. I don't remember like story or
Yeah,
characters.
I saw Puss in Boots 2 in 3D, and I'm like, can we stop showing bad guys now when this exists?
Exactly, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
there is no need for the bad guys anymore. We have Puss in Boots 2. Like,
Yeah.
that's the true dream. Like, I don't believe DreamWorks is in a renaissance just yet because literally only 2 movies have happened since Boss Baby 2. But like, again, like if you were to say Puss in Boots 2, then yeah, okay, I kind of get that argument. I don't agree with it, but I get it. The bad guys,
yeah, no,
it's a movie, you guys. Like, it's a movie.
Yeah.
Can we calm down a bit?
Yeah, it's kind of like I think this is an apt comparison, but it's kind of like how people praise stuff like Zack Snyder's Justice League or other movies like that, where it only really gets that praise because the stuff that came before it was just that unbelievably awful. For reference, the DreamWorks movies that came out last year before Bad Guys were Spirited Untamed, which in my opinion is the absolute worst DreamWorks movie. And
I have not seen it.
Yeah, and Boss Baby 2, which is also shit.
What are you talking about? Are you dissing Boss Baby 2 family business?
God damn it, how could I?
The best Jeff Goldblum film in the past year.
Yeah, better than Dominion.
You know, it probably is.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, back to Land Before Time. Of course. Yeah, I'll continue trying to keep this brief. Spike.
Yeah, you guys were excited when Spike came on screen. I'm like,
Spike is an absolute Chad, and he did the one thing that most Twitter users, sometimes myself included, can't even do. He touched grass.
That was very funny when you said that. But like, yeah, no, I was not expecting a silent character in this movie, but
yeah, and
he did have such great expressions. I'm like, wow, like a silent character. He doesn't talk, but you know what he's feeling in any given scene. Like,
yeah, and that silent aspect of him is actually consistent with the world building. That's actually something that kind of does continue throughout the franchise. Basically, when baby dinosaurs are born in Land Before Time, they don't immediately talk, like how babies do. It's up to the parents and others to teach that baby how to talk.
Right.
Hence why Spike is silent. Since when we first see him, he's just born.
Right. No, that definitely makes sense. Yeah. It's a little detail, but it goes a long way.
What did happen to Spike's parents? Can I continue the Jack Horner theory here?
Please, any Jack Horner talk is all right in my book.
Yeah, okay. So I know in Puss in Boots 2 we didn't really, get any... We didn't really see any dinosaur stuff or like stegosaurus spines, but maybe Jack could have them hidden somewhere, and maybe he did kill Spike's parents. I mean, he did. I mean, the shoe already confirms he killed Cinderella in cold blood. He stole a phoenix from Dumbledore, and he has a ring. What else? I can go further if I need to.
Well, you know what they say, you can't bake a pie without killing a dozen dinosaurs. Oh,
Yeah.
such a good villain.
It's-
Anyway, back to
yeah.
Land Before Time.
Yeah, I guess the last thing I should really talk about here is that pretty much every single character in this movie I perfectly do understand a lot, and with Lo-Fi especially, he goes through so much throughout the film that I, even in that 1 hour runtime, I really do feel his development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I kind of made this joke with like 12 Angry Men before, but like, how come like recent shit like Marvel movies, they go on for like hours and stuff like Eternals. I don't think there's like any meaningful character development whatsoever, yet Land Before Time and 12 Angry Men juggle plenty of characters in a much shorter runtime and flesh all of them out flawlessly.
Yeah, one thing I definitely noticed with this movie was like it kind of deals with aspects of racism in a sense. It's not like explicit, like, but that's the thing. It's not explicit. Like, it's very subtle, and it does it very well.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like banging you over the head with it. It's not just like, you know, you don't have dinosaurs that are just like, come, Timmy, this dinosaur is different than us, so we hate them.
Yeah,
it's just like, you know, it's
a
a little more grounded and subtle, and like, you know, the movie does not want to treat its audience like dumb babies.
Yeah, it's like what I believe you said in one of your videos before. People like to say, well, everything's political. Here's my response. Subtext.
Yeah, subtext, exactly. Like, of course, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you could make the argument that there's like elements of racism in this movie, but like, you know, it does sound a little ridiculous being like Land Before Time tackles racism. It's like, no, it's a little more subtle than that.
Yeah.
So then you still get a story out of it, and you can be like, you know, as you get older, you can kind of be like, oh, that's kind of a neat aspect that it kind of tackles, but it doesn't shove in your face. Like, it
definitely,
it's smart. Like, that is basically the way I can describe it the best. You know, it's smart. It's subtle.
Yeah. And like Just Stop mentioned in his Don Bluth ranking, how it handles these topics so uniquely and so well is that most of these themes are coming from the perspectives of really young characters.
Exactly.
So like, these are characters who don't fully understand the concept of stuff like racism yet, and Littlefoot wasn't really raised to have any prejudice, and he was just told, oh, we just usually keep to ourselves. So he does quickly open up to Ducky and Petrie and let them tag along, whereas Sarah definitely takes longer to open her heart.
Right.
Yeah.
But wait a minute. Her name is Sarah, and she's a Triceratops. What? I didn't just get that. I was just making a joke. Sorry.
Boy, I sure hope someone got fired for that blunder.
Yeah, I was trying to make a Family Guy joke where, like, Peter's just like, oh my God, Brian, you can talk.
Yeah. But, I don't have much else to say about Land Before Time, so I'll conclude my thoughts here. It is a fantastic movie, one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time, and am I going to keep the Blu-ray for this movie? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Somebody else who brought a Blu-ray with them. It's been a while.
Yeah.
No, but like, that's great. I definitely encourage people to buy physical media. I mean, obviously I don't make it a requirement when I bring on guests, but it's nice to hear when people talk about their collections as well.
I misplaced my 1 penny to buy my VHS copy of Nuki.
Me too, dude. Yeah. Me too. We missed our shot.
Our shot.
That's okay. So yeah, I do not personally own this on any Blu-ray or DVD or even VHS, but would I I wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't know if I'd necessarily go out of my way because I can't really say I can't say this is in my top 10 favorite, but it is one I definitely want to revisit at some point, like, which is a huge deal. Like, you know, there's so many movies out there, you know, sometimes you only want to watch one once, but like,
I
be
totally
willing to
get
rewatch
that.
this at some point. So will it ever join the collection? Possibly, possibly not. Who's to say? But will I ever watch it again? Absolutely. I don't know when, but someday.
Oh, yep. Someday indeed. Just like Zack Snyder's Watchmen.
Someday.
Yeah, fucking awful movie, by the way.
Wait, is there like a song that's called Someday in Watchmen? I actually don't remember. It's been years since I've watched Watchmen.
Yeah.
Since I watched
Yeah, all I know is that they played a really bad Hallelujah cover over a sex scene, so...
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Hallelujah...
Yeah.
I can't... I'd have to do like a 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon to get from Hallelujah to Uncut Gems. So let's just say it. We also watched Uncut Gems.
We did watch Uncut Gems. I watched Uncut Gems twice this month, earlier today for the podcast, and it was my first movie this year because not only did I end off last year with Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, which is one of the worst movies I have ever seen, but I have a tradition where every single year I must start it off by watching Adam Sandler film.
That's a cool tradition. Maybe I'll start doing that.
Now I just have a tradition where I end off the year watching one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and I start off the year by watching an Adam Sandler movie. For 2020 and 2021, it was Rhapsody Street Kids and then 8 Crazy Nights. For 2021 and 2022, it was Minions and then Hotel Transylvania. And then, obviously, for 2022 and 2023, we have Apocalypse War and the unironically far superior Uncut Gems, which is the best Adam Sandler movie that I've seen by far.
I think so, too. So I'm not as familiar with, like, Adam Sandler's filmography. Like, I've seen... What have I seen? So I have seen Grown Ups. Yeah. I have seen... Hubie Halloween. I have seen Billy Madison. I've seen Hotel Transylvania.
I
have seen, you know, like the big three. I kind of consider like his big three, where like people are just like, oh, this is when he's unironically great. So like stuff like the Meyerowitz Story, Punch Drunk Love, and Uncut Gems.
Yeah,
and yeah, I would say out of all of them, Uncut Gems is unironically my favorite.
Yeah, I have yet to watch those other three, but from what I have seen of Adam Sandler's filmography, it's been a while since I've watched a lot of his films because most of them were on a vacation trip back in 2020.
Which is ironic because he usually films his movies on vacation. Hey-o!
Hey! But yeah, I watched Big Daddy. I watched, I believe, 50 First Dates. Both of which were pretty fine. And obviously I watched 8 Crazy Nights, which I don't hate it as much as everyone else does, but even then, it only got me to chuckle like at least 6 or 7 times.
But did you like when the deer ate shit and when Whitey said, "That's a technical foul"? We're really making Byveed happy by mentioning this. Shout out to Byveed.
Yeah, shout out to Byveed. But yeah, I too do love eating turning red for breakfast. So yeah,
I think. In any case, Uncut Gems. Let's talk about Uncut Gems.
Yeah, let's talk about Uncut Gems. The only movie that's.
Have you ever seen the Safdie brothers' other movie, Good Time?
Oh, I don't think I have. I probably should though. I think
I don't know which I prefer. I think I prefer Uncut Gems over Good Time, but I feel like it's comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah.
Or it's like comparing like the original Star Wars to Empire Strikes Back. Like they're two really freaking good movies that it's kind of hard to compare the two, but like it just depends on which one you
Yeah.
like get more out of. Good Time, highly recommend. I also have that on Blu-ray. I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna need to do an
I'll check
episode
that
on
out
that.
sometime.
Yeah, but Uncut Gems, I remember watching in theaters and being like, all right, this is something special. Like,
it is. I've only watched it on Blu-ray, but it's something special indeed.
so yeah, I love one of the things it does that I love that the Safdie brothers do is it has like kind of a synthy score to it.
Oh yeah.
It is very loud, it's out there, it's like stressful, which is what the Safdies do like perfectly. They are also really good at filming New York. Like,
oh yeah, the filming is especially really good.
It's as someone who's like, you know, been to New York City, who's like been in the like New York State a lot, like Long Island, that kind of area, like it is insane how accurate it is. Like it's just so just stressful and out there, like everybody's just talking and like blabbling and just it's intense. It's too much. If you have like if you get stressed out easily, it is too much. And that's a good thing.
I've been to New York plenty of times, twice for a New York Comic-Con, and walking around that city can be a real crapshoot.
It's a big city.
But
I won't say if it's a good place or a bad place. It's a big place.
Yeah, but yeah, I look at every frame at this movie of New York, and every single time I say, "Holy shit, I'm gonna come."
Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing I actually do like about this movie is like it has a lot of memes to it. Like Howard Ratner. It just says a lot of really funny stuff. Like, yeah, holy shit, I'm gonna come. This is how I win. I disagree. Like, it weirdly got memed. Not to the extent of something like the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy or the prequels, but enough that I remember these lines, you know?
Who told you this shit? I didn't resurface my pool.
Yeah, I remember like people memeing on like I heard you resurfaced your swimming pool. It's like what a weird scene to meme, but I'm glad they did because it's a very funny scene. Like
you stopped the bet.
Yeah, you stopped the bet. Like that's another great. That's a great scene. Like you know when he realizes like oh like I lost all this money because to be fair like. Arno's kind of a dumbass for doing that, but at the same time, it's like you kind of understand. That's the great thing about this movie. It has a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah,
and at every corner.
Yeah, but a lot of those bad decisions, you completely understand why these characters make these decisions. Like why does Arno cancel the bet? Even though it would have worked? Oh, because Howard was spending that money all around town, placing it on bets.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing with Howard. Like, he is addicted to gambling. Like, he has an addictive personality. Like, you see that not just with his gambling, but with like the way he treats women, the way he treats people around him. Like, everything to him is a gamble. Like,
and the way he treats his own children. Just based on his obsession with basketball.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Like he's a piece of shit, but like he's a fascinating piece of shit. Like, you know, I just watched through The Sopranos recently, and I definitely saw a lot of Howard in these characters, or like vice versa, because you know you get this sense of like these scummy characters. They're obviously just terrible people who just do awful shit, and you're just like, why are you doing this? But at the same time, you're fascinated that they're doing this. Like,
exactly.
I want them to do these atrocities and to like gamble away all this money and just do all this stuff that you would never do personally, because you're just like, God, I'm watching a personality at hand here. Like, it's fascinating to see this person go through their life, make these horrible decisions, and you're still wondering, like, how are they still walking around with their head on top? Like, it's interesting. It's absolutely interesting, and I loved seeing it. It was such a wild ride.
I think with one of the definitely one of the best examples of it is American Psycho, which
Yeah.
which I did watch during the summer. But in terms of recent examples that I've been thinking of, I think there's all there's obviously Uncut Gems, which we're talking about. Though oddly enough, I think technically Joker would be another one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Arthur does make a lot of damning and just straight up terrible decisions throughout the movie, but you'll completely understand where a lot of his issues do stem from. And funnily enough, with both Joker and both Uncut Gems, I think both of them are near flawless in writing, where I don't think that much of the plot at all is contrived. I understand and get what each character motivation and decision is, and each and every single one of those decisions has actual consequences.
That's another thing. Yeah, like no decision in this movie doesn't come without consequences. Like everything that Howie does, it like affects him in some way, whether positive or negative. Like
Yeah.
you see him, like you see him. He places all these bets, and then Arno comes after him. He gives away the ring to like hold on for collateral, and then it blows up in his face again. Like
Yeah.
all these decisions that he's making that he thinks he's gonna like win big. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, that's
high risk, high reward.
Yeah, that's the
but
thing
also
with gambling.
high consequence. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is the
exactly.
thing with gambling.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm terrified to gamble and why I will never do it.
Same. I want to do
It's
casinos.
terrifying. Like, yeah, you get a high reward, but it's a high risk,
Yeah.
and I'm terrified by that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to do casinos or loot boxes.
Loot boxes. No, exactly.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
But yeah,
Exactly,
the other thing
exactly.
is that Howard isn't the only character in the movie that faces such damning consequences for bad decisions. Like, towards the end, Arno gets killed by his own men just for
Yeah.
standing up for Howard after he gets shot.
Yeah, Arno took a gamble standing up for someone he never would have stood up for before, and he paid the consequence for it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Kevin Garnett, who, by the way, I love the fact that he's in this movie. And not only that,
same.
he's great. Like
Yeah,
when it comes to
fantastic.
when it comes to athletes in movies, LeBron James in Space Jam 2, Shaquille O'Neal in anything he's in, like they're not great actors because, well, that's the thing. They're athletes.
Shaquille O'Neal. I have to watch Steel soon.
Yeah.
I
But
heard
that's the
it's
thing, it's
really
like-
bad.
Yeah, they're athletes. They're not trained to be actors, but because they have like a personality on the court, then they're just like, oh, I can be in big movies. And it's like, yeah, sometimes it leads to entertainingly bad situations. But Kevin Garnett in this movie was really good because, hey, the Safdies know how to direct people so they can act. That's why people praise Adam Sandler in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not just Adam Sandler. Like,
yeah.
every actor is so good in this movie.
And
it's
every
not even just
actress.
Every actress, every actor, like even the people who, like, if you actually go into like the cast list for Uncut Gems and you see like some of the actors who were in this movie, like Uncut Gems is like their only movie because they're just normal people that the Safdies found on the streets of New York, and they're just like, hey, you want to be in this movie for like a scene? They're like, sure. Like, I think there's like the one guy, it was like I think there's a story that goes that like they were filming at the Mohegan Sun, because there's that scene where Julia Fox goes to the Mohegan Sun, and she's like talking with this one guy, and that one guy wasn't originally in the script, but while they were setting up filming for that scene at that Mohegan Sun, they like met this guy, like I think it was like Josh Safdie met him and like struck up a conversation, and they were just like, hey, you're a really interesting personality, can you be in this movie for like a scene? He's like, sure. And he's great. Like he doesn't stand out. Like no actor stands out. Like these feel like real people because they're real people. Like that's the thing.
I really need to watch the other Safdie movies.
You do. Good Time, so fucking good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, I'm looking at the back of my Uncut Gems Blu-ray because since this is your show, I believe you also have like a DVD or Blu-ray, and
I do.
I
Yes,
got
it's a nice Blu-ray.
and I got my Blu-ray DVD combo at a thrift shop. I got some others like personal favorite movies of mine like Superman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and some certified bangers like Monster Hunter. Trust me, and I and I'm reading the plot description. A charismatic jeweler, Adam Sandler, makes a high-stakes bet that could lead to the windfall of a lifetime. In a precious high-wire act, he must balance business and family, fending off adversaries on all sides in pursuit of the ultimate win. And, like, yeah, that's a really good synopsis, but I read it charismatic jeweler as Jewish for a moment, which, like, yeah, Howard's Jewish in this movie, isn't he?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, this movie is very Jewish.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of Jewish characters. It takes place during Passover, which is around Easter time.
Yeah. Howard, you know all those times I called you a big dumb Jew? I was wrong. You're not a Jew.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, I think this movie definitely shows that really interestingly. Like, I love the scene when they're at like the Passover dinner, when it's like him and his family, and Arno's there. Like, it's a great scene.
Yeah. I liked the Furby scene.
Oh, the Furby scene is classic.
Yeah.
Like, that was in all the trailers.
Yeah, and it's on the poster that you have for it on Letterboxd.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
It's a very iconic scene.
Yeah, and then, after the iconic, holy shit, I'm gonna come, he shows the opal to Kevin Garnett, and I really love the editing for when Kevin is looking into the opal, because when he's looking into the opal, you see like the flashes of the Ethiopian people. Actually, you see pictures of them since they're the ones who did find the opal.
Yeah, you see like the whole universe.
Yeah,
in that one opal.
Yeah, and I feel like that editing choice also gives a reason for why Kevin would be so personally attached to that opal.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's like what we were talking about Land Before Time. It's subtext.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I love that this movie takes place in 2012 because around that time I was definitely into sports. I was definitely into watching basketball on ESPN. So like watching these characters watch ESPN, watching Kevin Garnett. I was a huge Celtics fan back in the day. I'm from Boston. What can I say?
Did it take place during 2012? Because I remember seeing in the opening it said it took place during 2019. Maybe I could be wrong.
No, so like the mine at the beginning in Ethiopia is in like 2010, and then it flash forwards to 2 years later. It says spring of 2012 in New York City, and you could definitely tell. Like again, like so Kevin Garnett was not playing for the Celtics in 2019, and then Adam Sandler, when you see him, he has like an iPhone 4, and like when he's showing like a video at some point, it's the old iOS from that time. It's not the iOS from 2019.
I forgot he does have an older phone.
Like it's little hints like that really show you that it is 2012. Like, and like they said, like, there's that scene where like he goes to the club and he sees The Weeknd, and he's just like, who the fuck is The Weeknd? Because The Weeknd was not popular at that time. He was still like an underground artist, and he was huge in the city because that's where culture starts, is in New York City or like just big major cities. Yeah. But then like, so like everyone's just like, oh, who's The Weeknd? Oh, he kind of rocks. Yeah. But this was before.
Yeah. And then that leads to the bathroom scene where again, Howard takes a gamble and he completely snaps.
He completely snaps and he essentially loses because then he completely messes up. Like, yeah, that's a great scene. But it's one of those things that like make this a semi-period piece because 2012 and 2019, despite being in the same decade, they are completely different times.
Oh, they are completely different indeed. One of them, we weren't getting any Star Wars movies, and in 2019, we got one of the worst, so...
Exactly. Wish we could go back time. Roll back time. Whatever, however the way that goes.
We're going back in time to 1800s Ethiopia to get Rise of Skywalker and Opal off the menu.
Exactly. Yeah, so this movie definitely connects with me a lot.
Yeah.
Not the gambling side, thank God, but
No.
there are aspects to it that I connect to a lot. And
yeah, same here.
It's probably why I probably prefer it over Good Time, just a hair. Like I love Good Time. I could talk about Good Time a lot too, but I think I do prefer Uncut Gems a little more.
Yeah, especially on a second watch, Uncut Gems does especially hit close to me because, okay, obviously I don't have a gambling addiction. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Yeah, same.
But what I do have is that I do have an issue of impulse buying.
Same.
Because there is a lot of stuff that I do want, and like how my parents have worded it before, it's not what I spend it on is the problem, it's how I spend it.
Exactly.
And with the most recent purchase I've been trying to make, I've been trying to buy all the Mega Man, Megamix, and Gigamix books since I do have a few of the stories, and from what I have read, they're like some of the best stories that I have ever seen in fiction. So, but if I'm gonna get all the rest of the books, I'm gonna have to spend a bit of a pretty penny.
Exactly.
Yeah. One of them is like literally $80 on Amazon.
Oof.
Yeah. And so I'm watching Uncut Gems, and I'm kind of thinking this is a bit of a cautionary tale for me, because when I'm ordering especially expensive stuff online or buying it from other people, that stuff is especially a gamble.
Yeah, impulse buying. I totally get it. I mean, why do you think I started this podcast?
Yeah. And
it's from years of impulse buying. So, which I'm glad I started this podcast. I've definitely gotten better at avoiding that kind of impulse buying. So, and like I said, like I'm nowhere near the levels of Howard, so thank God for that.
Yeah, thank God. But even then, I still see Uncut Gems in this sort of sense as like a cautionary tale.
Oh, absolutely. So, I just also want to shout out before we get into talking about the Blu-ray to wrap this up.
Yeah.
The credit song is a banger, dude. Like, ever since I saw this in theaters, like I've had that song. What is it called? It's called like. I gotta look it up, the actual name of it. It's called like L'amour toujours. I'll Fly With You. It's by the artist Gigi D'Agostino.
Isn't it like Eurobeat?
It is a Eurobeat song. I've had that song stuck in my head ever since I watched it in theaters. I listen to it constantly. It's so good.
I think one of the funniest things that I saw recently is that I saw a video where it's A24 films represented by Smiling Friends.
Yeah.
And for Uncut Gems, it was when Grim and Gnarly got killed by the Renaissance Men. And then the credits scene starts playing as it zooms in on Gnarly.
Yeah, because that's what happens. Like, and I gotta say, like, the ending of Uncut Gems, it's so good. Like,
it is.
Yeah, it ends with Howard getting shot and dying, but it ends on him winning, essentially, like coming out on top. Like, you know that if he didn't get shot, like, he would continue this like awful gambling addiction. Like, he would continue cheating on his wife. He would go back down. Like, he would just keep proving that he's a fuck up. Whereas like here, he comes out on top. Like he ends on a high note, essentially. Yeah, he gets shot, but like he ends winning that bet and proving them that he was right.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was the extent of all he could prove though. But that's a great ending for this character. Like like no other ending would have worked for this character. Like it totally works. It comes out of nowhere. It's a great fucking reveal how like the guy like comes out of the booth and he just goes like bam, like shoots him, and you're just like you're caught off guard, but then you're just like, honestly, like it's the perfect way for this movie
I was trying to figure out why is the ending of this movie so satisfying to me, and you just worded it in the best way possible.
Yeah. And then it like it zooms into his bullet wound. You're flying through what is essentially the opal, and then you end on a starry night, and then it starts playing that song, that Eurobeat song. It's perfect. It is a perfect way to end this movie.
It absolutely is. So fantastic movie. I guess we should get to the Blu-ray now.
Yeah, so the way you described the synopsis on the back, it is the exact same way that the synopsis is on the back of my Blu-ray, so I think we have the same Blu-ray.
Yeah. Is it a Blu-ray DVD digital copy?
Yes, it has a nice slipcover. I've thought about upgrading to like the Criterion 4K, but it doesn't truly matter to me. I think I still think it looked great, and plus the Criterion does not have the Lionsgate
exactly. I was going to mention that.
So, you keep hitting those home runs, Lionsgate.
Yeah, keep hitting them home runs. You made CIAP. You will always be close in my heart.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think, but even still, like it looks great on the Blu-ray that I have it on. So, and I love this movie, so I'm keeping this Blu-ray. It's a certified keep in the collection.
Yeah, same here. I am keeping this movie by far. I just need to. I am thinking about. Yeah, I'm probably going to take off the sticker that I still have on the back here, because I was going to keep it because, it has Lionsgate on it. But no, the Lionsgate logo is already on the back of this, so.
Interesting. Do I have a Lionsgate sticker on mine?
Oh,
I don't.
Yeah, the sticker is just there from the thrift shop for me, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's funny. So like a bunch of episodes ago, I did Mirror Mask with Puff, and we talked about, and that's a movie that like I don't remember where I got it from, but I got it online from somewhere, and it had like a family movie, or what was it? It was like it's all the way on the other side of the room, but like it had like this sticker on it that was essentially from like an old Blockbuster-esque type of movie rental place. Yeah. And I'm like, I got to keep the sticker on. Like it's a piece of history. So like so it's still on there. It's still on the DVD that I have of it. I think really cool.
Yeah, I think where I got my copy of Uncut Gems was from a thrift shop in my area called Second and Charles, which had a Howard the Duck in a broken DVD case.
Which there you go.
Yeah, which I did buy, and I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, I also got all of Birds of Prey on DVD. I still gotta watch that series. I'm hoping it'll be funny.
Yeah, one can only hope.
One can only hope. I mean, worst case scenario, I just flipped to Batwoman. So
exactly. Yeah. There you go. All right, dude. Chaos, please. Plug your stuff. Where can people find you?
I am too sophisticated for a Twitter account at this point. I am above that.
Good.
But I do have a Twitter account for my podcast. I forgot. You know what? Link that. A whole lot of chaos. I don't just talk about filthy normie movies. I also talk about filthy normie shows, filthy normie games, filthy normie books, and I haven't uploaded an episode in a month. I'm gonna upload a new one soon, but the last one I did was the Mega Man Power Battle and Power Fighters. So do check that out. And just like last time, I also have a letterboxed, serialized, and backlogged. So
yeah, all of the links will be in the description.
All
right. Well, thank you, Chaos, for joining me on this episode. Thanks for talking about Uncut Gems and Better Dinosaur 2000.
Yeah. And one last message before I head out. Brian, you still need to log Bamboozle.
You know what? Let's just end it there then. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Just